next.
Thanks for being with us. I'm Amber Noggle. A Cottage Grove church is facing criticism tonight after the priest wrote a message urging parishioners to not vote for a specific candidate in the upcoming Wisconsin Supreme Court election. New at 10, Caroline Dade is digging deeper into how the message could affect the church's tax-exempt status.
Amber, tonight a U.S. representative says he thinks there was a, quote, ridiculous and overtly political message in this bulletin from St. Patrick Catholic Church in Cottage Grove. Reverend Brian Dulli wrote this message in Sunday's bulletin. He explains Catholic teachings about abortion and says he believes one Wisconsin Supreme Court candidate, quote, has tried to make this race entirely an effort to legalize abortion in Wisconsin. He continues to say, quote, I urge you, for the salvation of your soul, do not vote for her in the Supreme Court race on April 4th. Dulli never mentions any candidate by name, but Janet Protasewicz is the only female candidate on the ballot for the Supreme Court race. The Wisconsin Catholic Conference has guidelines about how churches can be involved in politics. They say churches and clergy are not allowed to endorse or oppose political candidates. That's the stance the Madison Diocese is taking, too, saying in a statement to 27 News, quote, the Catholic Church's involvement in public life doesn't extend to endorsing candidates for election to public office, nor calling for their defeat. But the diocese says the church, quote, has both a duty and a right to call attention to the moral and religious dimensions of public issues. Conservative radio host Vicki McKenna lauded Dulli's message and called for other pastors to do the same. But Democratic Representative Mark Pocan says he thinks Dulli went too far. He says he views Dulli's message as overtly political, and he thinks it makes a case against the church's tax-exempt status. Mary Beth Collins with UW-Madison Center for Community and Nonprofit Studies says federal tax code puts limits on churches' political activity,
which is directly or indirectly advocating for or against any particular candidate or intervening in any political campaign.
She says churches that break that rule can lose their tax-exempt status. But in the past 5 to 6 years,
a lot of churches have been doing things that are sort of in contravention to that law, and there hasn't been a lot of repercussion.
I've reached out to Reverend Dulli multiple times, but he hasn't responded. Today, when I was outside St. Patrick Church, a man wearing a clerical collar walked out of the church, came up to me and asked what I was doing. He refused to answer any of my questions or identify himself.
All right, Caroline, thank you.